quedaremos solo. La riqueza de esta escena es contemplar la reacción de Cristo.
Legal aqui.
¿Ya? ¿Esta que está por acá también?
¿Dónde me cobran?
We have, first we have the flower like this, then like this, then it's drying like this flower. And we can plant macadamia trees in this water because we have a really good ground, volcanic ground, just reaching this brown sheet.
Very
Okay.
cool. Thank you.
But the reason is brown shield like this, the same machine shoot another. Simple. Use the same nut, the same brown shield to plant another tree. We plant in the ground and we grow the root. Okay, 40 days after we grow the root, and we wait 9 months to let it sun.